Hey everyone! I used to think of Patrick Star as kind of like my spirit animal because ignorance is bliss and I envied him for being able to do that. Anyways, I will get back to Patrick in a bit. So as the pandemic continued to evolve and spread in the States, I actually bought a one-way ticket back to Taipei. And immediately after arriving, my sister and I started our 2-week quarantine. I actually really appreciated having that downtime to myself, and I vlogged every day. There are 4 vlogs as of right now, today being April 13th. Each vlog is like 20 minutes long, which kind of reflects, we do a lot. I do a lot. Kind of. And on the last day of quarantine, I went through our old bookshelf and decided to reread Tuesdays with Morrie. That was one of my, I want to say, favorite books. I remember quoting that book a lot, but throughout the years, like after high school, it just kind of like drifted away from my mind. I knew that there were a lot of good topics in that book that I could talk about. For this month, I did end up choosing one of the chapters and cover emotions, aka feelings. And this is definitely something that a lot of us talk about, but then not really. We can definitely talk about it more, I think. So I'm gonna start with quoting Morrie from the book. By throwing yourself into these emotions, by allowing yourself to dive in all the way, over your head even, you experience them fully and completely. You know what pain is, you know what love is, and you know what grief is. And only then can you say, all right, I have experienced that emotion, I recognize that emotion, now I need to detach from that emotion for a moment. So that was a long quote, but I want to first talk about the first part of that quote, why we should embrace our emotions. So to quote the book in that chapter again, he said, wash yourself with emotion. It won't hurt you. It will only help. And that's kind of it. We should embrace our emotions because it doesn't hurt us when we do. Different cultures all view this differently. It really just depends on your experience. And this really affects how people view this subject matter. Like over time, meeting different people, I realized different people address feelings differently. Some people talk about it very openly. Some people don't talk about feelings at all. But an unquestionable truth is that all humans, no matter how much or how little you express it, we all have emotions. Sadly, our society seems to put a lot of pressure on men to not be emotional, as if being emotional is a sign of weakness, as if there's something wrong about having feelings or sharing how you feel, or being vulnerable, as if women that do are less reasonable, as if we aren't just all human. But of course, people do have different levels of emotions, and that's okay. Personally, I've always been really emotional, to the point where it's almost impossible for me to hide my feelings, but I actually still did, especially the negative ones. I thought it was better because I didn't want to burden people close to me, and I guess before I started doing it, I also just didn't know how people would react or respond to it. Yet I've realized over the years that keeping my emotions inside only makes it harder for me to go about my day or be productive, and it sometimes even affects my physical well-being. So I learned that the best way to process my emotions is to embrace them, all of them, the good, the bad. And next month I actually want to tackle a specific emotion, which is happiness. And I want to go deeper into the pursuit of happiness. For now, I'm going to go back to the overall topic about our emotions and save that one for May. This is where Patrick comes in. I will be quoting Patrick Star. Maybe I should do this. Sometimes we should go deep inside ourselves to solve our problems. However, our emotions sometimes overshadow reality, and while some can easily dismiss those feelings, others can't. So yes, we have to go deep inside ourselves to figure out what the problems are, but after you figure out your emotions, now what? That brings me to the second part of this topic. How do we deal with our emotions? Usually when we talk about dealing with our emotions, we're usually always talking about the negative feelings that get in our way. So bringing back that second part of Morrie's quote, he said, all right, I have experienced that emotion. I recognize that emotion. Now I need to detach from that emotion for a moment. And what that means is we need to first recognize how we feel and understand that our feelings are valid. I think that's so important because then and only then can you start to let go. And by letting go, I don't mean like dropping those emotions completely and just pretending that it doesn't exist. By letting go and detaching from that emotion, you are simply allowing yourself to kind of look at those emotions from a distance. Thus, you get to take back the wheel in a way and not let your emotions override what you can do with your time and energy. A few questions that you can ask yourself and try to answer as you go through your emotions. First one, why do I feel this way? Well, sometimes feelings do just come for no reason. It could be a trigger that triggers something you used to feel, but more often than not, there's always a reason behind why we feel certain emotions, which is why, like, for children, I think a lot of times when they are like acting out, it's kind of important to go like, what's wrong? What's the matter? And not just be like, stop doing that. Because when you tell them stop it, they just know they should stop it, but they don't know why. It's not like a, I guess, healthy way of figuring out their emotions. Like if you ask them like, hey, what's wrong? What's the matter? They can figure out what the problem is and then together work out a solution. Like what will make you happier? Why should you feel otherwise? Why shouldn't you be mad? Something like that. It's that conversation, you know, you just kind of have to figure out why, the why of it all. So why do I feel this way? What's the challenge? What's the problem? How can I solve it? And then secondly, what can I do to make myself feel better? So if you have a lot of locked up negative energy inside of you, you often just need a release. If you can't solve the problem at hand, sometimes you just need to release it elsewhere, like doing something you love, doing something other than whatever is bothering you. Like it's like a distraction, but at the same time, sometimes you can't deal with it when you are emotional, because again, sometimes when you're emotional, you're not productive, you're not reasonable. So I think we need to release that negative, overwhelming energy first before you calm down and, I guess, face the situation head on with a clear mind. So what I often do is I would journal. I would just do something that kind of lets that emotion out in a way where I feel comfortable. Lastly, so if the reason why you are having these negative emotions is something or someone that you can't deal with right away, you can often seek support. You don't have to face it on your own. Oftentimes, we don't know what to do, and it is okay to not know. It is okay to need support, to seek help. And that's something that a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing because they don't want to burden other people. They don't want to seem weak. They don't want to seem, I guess, incompetent. But that's not the case. Everyone has struggles. Everyone feels overwhelmed with negativity sometimes. So when that happens, it is okay to express that to someone you trust and to kind of let the weight off your shoulders. Let someone else carry a little bit of that weight for you too, and give you suggestions even. Maybe they have a clear mind from a third perspective and they can give you some advice. When we think we are struggling on our own, there is always someone that can relate to you or someone that can help you, listen to you. You are not alone because, again, no matter how unique your position, your situation, all humans have emotions, and it is okay to not feel okay. It is normal to not always be okay. And as we ride the waves of this pandemic right now, it is especially important for us to be compassionate and to check in with our loved ones and support each other. And if you feel things that you yourself can't handle, you can definitely share it with someone else. Chances are there are many people out there that care, many more that share your frustrations. But the key to overcoming this dark time is to stay hopeful, to have faith that this will pass and that together we will get through this. We will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even though after this pandemic, the world may never be the same again, we will find a new balance. And hopefully, the world will be a better place. That is the end of my April discussion topic video. I definitely enjoy reflecting on a lot of these topics myself. Like I said, I am no professional. I don't study this. These are all just my own reflections. Sometimes I pull sources, sometimes I don't, but it's all just reflections, and I'm very curious to hear what other people think about these topics, if they have some tips, if they have some just advice for each other. For me, I would really appreciate it if people could just tell me stuff too, rather than just me preaching ideas that I'm also still learning about. So yeah, I look forward to doing the next topic on happiness. Maybe, who knows, I'll do 2 videos this month. I'm gonna end this here. Stay safe, stay healthy. We got this. Here is to living and loving as much as we can all day, every day.